Alright, hello. So today we're going to be doing a couple of tutorials. I'm going to start and separate them individually like I did before, and today we're going to start with Ghoul. Oh baby, Ghoul! The funniest of funnest of fun. And that could not be any more facetious. So one of the things you want to, if you have parry on Tifa, you want to make sure you get into this fight so you can parry your way up here. If you're actually like not blind, you can usually get over here. Sometimes, what I do is with movement, parry movement, I usually don't shift the camera. But what you should always do is like set up a camera angle that's good for you, so that if I say, let me just reload that real quick. This one, so that no matter what the camera angle, I can kind of see what's going on. So
come on,
we're gonna just like
let's go. I got this.
That. Now I've got a little bit better of an idea where I'm headed. And you can get pretty far up here. Just so you know, the flee timer does roll randomly between 3 to 6 seconds. Seems to land somewhere between 3.5 to 5.5 to 6 every once in a while. So now for Ghoul, we've got a lot of things to discuss. There's a ton of different ways to go with Ghoul. I'll show you the first one right off the bat here. We'll just get on in here with Cloud and do this older method. The first phase can be handled like this, but as you can tell, can be quite the issue with that. But if you have a strong enough physical weapon, you can push damage through. So you'd normally need to be on something like Hard Edge here to get this to work. But counter stance should do enough physical damage to push him into a weakened phase. Okay, you gotta be pretty quick with the counter stances. I won't be using counter stance. This is just a demonstration of one of the methods you can use to deal with the boss. The thing is counter stance requires you to have 2 ATB. I forgot I don't have ATB boost on Cloud, so that's just something of note that you can counter stance through this. You can do this a bunch of different ways. What I do is I start by using Daughter on Tifa, and because Somersault is more than enough, it is actually what we want for Abzu. I leave her on Somersault the entire time. So we'll have Somersault for this boss, and then we'll also have it for Eligor. I do a little bit of a more crazy Eligor that takes some pretty quick inputs, but it's worth it, I think, once you figure it out, because it's yet another synergy spam strat, and it reinforces the same good synergy practices. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to come in with Tifa. This is the first part that's important, and then just boop. And what I want to do is chill out with Cloud here, okay? I actually want to take this hit if at all possible, because of the way I have my thing set up. We're going to poke a couple of times here, get Fire. That's going to be enough to kill. So Fire and Tempest from Tifa would also, or from Aerith, would also establish enough damage to push phase. You need to do enough physical damage to push the boss into weakness to magic, which Ghoul becomes red instead of blue. The reason I use counter or cross or self-destruct there and took the hit is because without a magic up, Cloud will not reliably get a cross slash out of a self-destruct. If you tank a hit before plus self-destruct, you will always get cross slash. So now she has 2 ATB. One thing of note, since we're in New Game Plus Hard, we can't use the elixirs that most other routes use. I'm going to go left here. You can go left or right. I've been told the movement from Ghoul is really bad if you go right, but I've never really noticed one way or the other that it's actually better. I would advise for newer runners to use Cure over Fire, because it hits harder, it costs less MP, and there's no chance of it hitting. Wow, I'm very lucky that I didn't die to that. So what you would want to do here, if you're just using Fire-Ga,
Get fired up.
into another Fire-Ga. So now, that will kill, so I'm going to retry. Now I'm going to show you what happens if you SD without tanking the hit. Assuming I don't tank one.
I got this.
Actually, I'll go to my way to not tank one on purpose. Or at least try not to. Okay, every once in a while you can get... Uh-oh. You need to block the magic attack like that and you'll be okay. Boom. Switch over to Aerith. Fire up.
You're burning
ATB
up.
boost.
Maybe this
And then
will
there
do
you
the
go.
trick.
See, now the problem is sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes, Cloud can overdamage by critting. There's not much you can do about that. That's part of the reason that this isn't really a good strat. I really self-destruct more than anything just so that I can get the limit. One other thing you can do is you can also cut the Skill Master for a magic up and split the damage between the two. But if you're going to do that for Skill Master, you should also probably do this as well, add healing to Aerith. So I'll show you a more safe method that doesn't rely on your spells actually hitting through. So we're not going to worry about getting hit by anything. We're just going to zip on in here, somersault, and then SD. And even though I whiffed, that's fine, because I can just do this. Actually, that's not fine, because I stole her... Wait, did I steal her? Healer? No, I didn't. We'll just Curiga Cloud here, Aerith, Curiga the Ghoul, and then we'll ATB boost.
Ready? Every little bit helps. Come on.
Get ready.
And normally that wouldn't be nearly as tight, but you have to do a little bit extra damage if your SD whiffs like that. This fight, you can get through it a ton of different ways. The limit's probably the worst way to do it. So I'll show you one other method after this. This is just my personal way. I really like self-destruct. I think it's a really neat mechanic, and abusing it is always fun to me. Other runners are not big on it, so I'm just going to chill out back here. And the cool thing is, I don't have to worry about if he's in... So normally, if you're trying to cast fire spells, the spells will not go into the furniture. So that's why healing is safer to do it that way. Alright, so the magic up means I don't need to take a hit at all. So let me do that. Hopefully do this without it so you can see what I mean. The magic up will be enough to allow me to just move on. SD, and that happens sometimes. That's the problem with doing it like this. You can end up getting the Ghoul pullback. Ghoul seems to be a lot more passive than he used to be. Alright, I should be able to handle this one. Boom. And then Aerith. So, let me show you right here. This fire should... well, sometimes you get lucky and the fire will, like, not hit the desk. But you see how I have a limit here, and I also have some more HP. The other thing you can do is do Fire Elemental. I'll show you that right after this. These are all little variances that you can change to make this more consistent. I'm on the most YOLO version of this stupidity, and it's probably not worth doing, considering that there's just a lot of little things that can be changed here to make your life easier. So I'll show you kind of so you can Curiga. Well, let me show you what a Fyra does.
Get fired up.
See, Fyra does about 5k, and Curiga is going to hit a lot harder. But the problem with curing is, you just see what I did there. I screwed myself, and now I accidentally wasted the ATB on Cloud. Okay, so we're going to need to get back. And then try and... Oh, well. Now, here's a backup strat you can do. Star Showers are going to get you through here. You could get through it, I guess. I would say Ghoul is more of a troublesome boss than you want to mess with, so... Get back. This is why parry is so strong. Also, Star Shower will allow you to damage boost through stuff, and we can just poke through like that. So, Ghoul is a very volatile boss, and that's going to happen a lot with these fights. So, Ghoul is definitely one... I'd say if things go wrong in the first phase, just reset immediately. You're better off that way. So the reason I have a save down here instead of right before the boss is there's a skip that you can perform in this area to skip Ghoul and Eligor. I'm going to be learning any percent at some point, so that's why my save's way out of the way. So one of the other things you can do is you can go with Fire Elemental. So if your ice is like right next to fire, you can do this. I go the other way around where I want to switch this ice to lightning later, so it's more beneficial for me to have it there. So no magic up, no fire. So the reason the fire is here is because we're going to siphon more damage off. So we go boop, 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 parry on in here. We're going to try and purposefully not get hit. SD. So you see I have a lot more HP than I did last time. Fire up. And what you can do is just build up ATB with Aerith for Tifa. So now I have a cure. You can either use that cure on Cloud if you didn't get enough to get a limit, which I did in this case. Sometimes Cloud's damage is variable, so he can end up getting a limit even without the magic up, even without tanking a hit. It's very odd. That's why a lot of runners don't do the dumb stuff I do. You can also go this way as well. I've done this in the past.
You're out of luck.
I've been told that this gives you like a really weird movement pattern from the boss. But we'll go Fire-Ga. And so like Fire here is a YOLO because you kind of see how far off the damage is. It was around 8,000 for Fire-Ga, 6k Fire. So I'd say double Fire-Ga as long as you have the MP. There is a bug with the ghouls in leading up to this fight. The 2 rooms where you get surprised by the ghouls jumping out, if you tactical menu a spell and then finish them off quickly enough, you'll get all of your MP back from the spell. So you can kill them for free, plus break the MP crates. The crates in both of those rooms have 10% recovery. So you can do both of those rooms for free, plus 20%. Or in the second room, you can also activate Synergy Fire and get another 4 MP back, because the game doesn't register that Synergy didn't even take MP to cast in the first place. Because I guess the way they patched it. So we're going to do a little bit of a different method here. I'm going to go for the Tifa method to use Star Shower. A lot of these I'm unfamiliar with because I don't use them consistently. But normally you want to tank a hit with Cloud. And then we're going to Fire, whereas Tifa uppercuts. Okay, and then what we'll do is... see, now here, I'll show you this right here. You see how he's inside the furniture? Oh, wow, I'm actually lucky he took that hit. That's not normal. Anyway, so we're going to actually do this next phase with Tifa. This is something you can do instead of the self-destruct if you don't want to run Iron Blade. I use it because I've always liked Iron Blade, always liked SD, like I said. But this is the way other runners do it. Just keep in mind you need your HP up for this to work. But you can get over there much quicker. Now wait for it. Star Shower twice. Okay, that's not what I wanted, but okay. Alright, so we're gonna go Fire-Ga and Fire-Ga. So this is a safe spot to be. So you really want to be standing down here. The 2 places you want to stand are either right up there against that wall, so that any furniture flung at Aerith will, like 90% of the time, hit the wall. Or you want to be down here, wait until the boss throws the furniture, so just be guarding the whole time, and then throw the spell once the boss turns red, because he'll stop throwing furniture. The counter stance and countering the furniture attacks is obnoxious because it's not consistent. The furniture is very hard to like get a consistent hit off of. It'll end up hitting the floor sometimes instead of you, so it's really hard to take a ding from on purpose. So we'll do one more. I'll show you at full speed the way I do it. That is Eligor, and we're not going over that right now. That is not the right boss. So if I was going to say take the training wheels off, or put some training wheels on, it's either give yourself a magic up, or use a fire. And I think fire is the easier solution because most of the things in the sewer will be weak to that. So it gives you a little bit of a benefit there. It's not important, but it's whatever. By the way, the way this uppercut parrying works is you hold down triangle, and then guard and not spam parry, but like you mash it in a specific rhythm, and Tifa will just get the startup animation, which is much faster than the rest. Alright, so we're gonna go here. You could just do the magic up, but taking it off Aerith is a pain in the ass, so...
Come on.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying right there. 1, 2, and 3, SD, tag, Fire,
Okay,
Air
let's
fire
have
up.
one shot. Here, you're burning up.
Okay, now Aerith's got ATB boost.
This one's stronger.
So Cloud is now going to have to take an extra hit. I can cure with Tifa if I really wanted to. That's something you can do, or you can go for Star Shower at this point. You can do a ton of different things. I'm going to show you the really, like, the secondary backup. The reason you need fire is so you siphon some more HP back off of the explosion, basically. So that way you can survive this. There you go. Now you're free to go. Okay, now you can just fire a Ghoul.
This is gonna hurt.
And one of the things that, like, reason you would want to use Cure in here is the furniture can block your fire spells. So the game can sometimes screw you by curving the spell in such a way that it ends up hitting furniture instead of the boss. I guess real quick we'll go over the materia setup. I have ice as a crime of convenience. A lot of the enemies throughout the course of the game are either weak to ice or neutral to it. There's very few that are resistant to ice, if at all. So Ice Elemental is a really good tool to have on your Iron Blade. Starting out, don't be afraid to optimize your elemental affinities on your weapons. Once you get to top end, you're going to want to start taking that out and removing those additional menus, finding which fights you can get away with it in. Like a good example is Tifa is on Wind Elemental. This is for Brood in Chapter 12. Everywhere else, it really isn't an issue. It's not super additive or destructive. So I just leave it that way until we get into much later game when I need to change her equipment again. Also, we're an enemy skill, HP Absorb. This is to siphon HP back on the self-destruct. That's so... You want to take the hit before the self-destruct, because then you don't have to worry about having enough HP to take a hit after the self-destruct. You can tank a hit after the self-destruct in Phase 2, but it depends on what he attacks you with. Some of the hits you can't tank. The only thing you can tank after the self-destruct, really, is either a blue fire if you have really high life, or a desk. The magic beam, you cannot tank. You'll die. So unless somebody has revive, that's not going to work for you. Subversion, warding, of course, is instant death, evasion, Bahamut. We're going to want... We don't need the skill masters. These are not important. These can be anything else, because you're just going to use self-destruct limit. First strike, 100%, you need this. You want to build enough bar to get your ATB up to 2 bars. You should have enough time, and if you have really, really, really shitty ATB and have, like, 1 action, or a little bit over 1 action, fill up the whole bar, and then wait a little bit on Ghoul to see if he's going to back up or not when in the vulnerable phase. Because Ghoul will back up or charge forward depending on certain things. So, like, just take it a little bit slow because you're trapped in a spot with self-destruction. There's no tracking. So, try not to throw that out. ATB assist is not needed here. You're not going to activate it. Ice, Subversion, no. Those are for other things. Wind Elemental. This could be Fire Elemental, but you're not going to get this elemental damage through because Ghoul is immune to magic until after you've done Somersault. So the only damage you're getting through with Somersault is the physical damage you have. So don't worry about your elemental affinity. This only ends up working because of self-destruct. I would say just use magic up, to be honest. It makes it more consistent, and then take it back off and give it back to Aerith. So I mean, it's really just first strike and then this whole combination, maybe magic up. Healing, you're going to want... That can be used as a good backup for this fight. Healing overall is nice to have when you don't... Because some places you have to cut HP ups for other setups. Parry, you're going to want 100%. You always want parry on Tifa. You never don't want parry on her. Time, that's not going to work out here. HP up, you definitely need that if you're going to do double Star Shower. Fire, you could use as a backup, but healing is better. Since she has it, use cures instead. Just be careful with the cures, like I showed earlier. You want to make sure you cure Ghoul, not your party members. If you cure your party members, you're in for a rough time. That's part of the reason why Fire is a little bit better, because you can't fuck up the targeting. Skill Master shouldn't come up. Wind Magnify shouldn't come up. Magic up, you do need these. MP up, you'll probably need this for the whole chapter, maybe even 2 MP ups when you're first starting, because you're going to do a lot of miscasting. ATB Stagger, you're probably not going to stagger the boss, so that shouldn't come up. Leviathan, just a little bit of a stat buff. Fire Synergy, You may have noticed that she never fires Synergy. This room is very weird, and Synergy doesn't trigger properly in this fight. I don't know why. I'm assuming it's the furniture or whatever. So you're going to have to manually cast everything. You're not getting any free hits here. This is the only place I know of where Synergy just shuts off for no reason. First Strike and ATB Boost, this is the best way to deal with this fight. Because then she can cast the spell in the first phase, ATB Boost, and then have both spells for the second phase after the limit. Without 2 magic ups and taking an extra hit, Cloud will not be able to get like an Ascension. A lot of people used to counter stance the first phase and then Dolphin Flurry phase 2. But that requires a completely different setup that I'm not ready to teach because I don't use it anymore. Using a physical build for Cloud here isn't a bad idea because Aerith is hogging the magic ups. So she doesn't lose out all that much by being on a physical build, but I find that Iron Blade is more than good enough. With Synergy mixed in and Wind Magnify, you can rip through everything between here and Eligor pretty easily. So yeah, you want Goddard on Tifa. You need to make sure you have Chain Bangle off of Cloud. His defense directly correlates to how much he gets out of his self-destruct. So you need to limit his magic defense as much as possible to make sure that you get a limit off of self-destructs. Like I said before, just a single magic up will change that. You could leave Chain Bangle on him if you wanted, and then give him a magic up for this fight and split it, Firega. And if for whatever reason that's not doing enough damage for you, you can also do some uppercuts in the first phase with Tifa to get Curaga for phase 3 as well. Fira and Curaga will stagger the boss. So even if you're not doing enough damage, you'll be able to kill. Actually, I'll show that off real quick. But we've gone through all the materia and everything, so should be fine. A thing of note is the level 2 spells and level 3 spells have the same exact stagger values as a tier 3 spell. So tier 3 spells just do more damage and cost more MP, because they cost 21 per cast instead of 10. So they cost an additional MP for the higher tier. So we'll do the alternate strat with the stagger.
All set. Yeah, you asked for it.
Okay. Nice.
Get him.
And sometimes Cloud will totally
Get fired
cooperate.
up. Okay, let's every little bit helps.
Okay, so I'm gonna switch over to Cloud here real quick. We're gonna do this 1-2-1-2. The only issue with this is you end up very close. I'm not sure what the over-under is on the magic damage.
You're out of luck.
Okay, so I'm gonna come in here closer. And that's why you want to get right next to the wall there. So Fire, Tifa, Curaga, Ghoul,
This is gonna hurt.
Fira,
How's this?
and then you get a stagger every time. If you're really unsure, that's something you can do. I'd say just using Firega is just as effective, but I figured I'd throw that in there since I remembered that was a thing. Okay, so I hope this will help. If you guys have any questions, there's always the Discord. I'd say leave a comment, but I'm very bad about checking those, so I hope this was enough to show you a couple of different methods and way to deal with a boss. SD is not the best method, but it is the way I prefer to do it, so it's the easiest for me to teach because I understand how it functions completely. So I'll see you guys again when we get to Eligor. Later. Peace.